Hi Aries, welcome back for your October reading. Please have a look at the shop because it is open now. If you're wanting to purchase anything off there, you can have a look on the website. There will be additional products I will add. For the in-betweeners section, I will be adding that back later and it will be in a separate video format. The twin flame readings will be every second week. I've purchased some new cards as well, and they're more from the manifestation point of view and from the aspect of perhaps areas where you've been blocked, where trigger points are and the things that you need to directly work on. And they're based around Abraham Hicks. I'm trying to work on that area with you guys so that you can actually see how your mindset can actually be impacting and affecting things, you know, and roads where you're wanting to move forward with. And hopefully that will help forward motion in your lives. If you are wanting a booking, you can go through to the website. If there is a day or a time that doesn't suit your needs, please email me and I will try and connect you up from my side at a time that suits. Now, sometimes I do actually have late evenings where I am free to do readings. So again, please feel free to actually email me and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Now let's see what's coming through for you guys. Okay, you've got a lot of changes happening. I feel a lot of frustration connected to ways you're doing things and the fact that you've had huge changes happen in your world. Now these changes have been directly connected to you wanting to change for a very long time. They've also been connected to a fact that for some of you, you may have ended a relationship, and this might have been past tense some time ago, so to speak. So this situation in your mind has really been, whether it is that you have ended it or been considering it, there's some sense of ending connected to a frustration in your life. Now, this frustration is something that you've either been processing or you're processing to make that decision. And the ending doesn't have to be within a relationship. It can be within relationships as a whole, connected to friendships, work colleagues, the way of doing things. And it's just, you're reassessing the whole dynamic of your life. You have kept things in some shape or form similar. And these triggers are coming up for you where you're realizing that it's not the people, it's the fact that you've changed. So because you've changed, you're finding you're recycling different ways of doing things and you're getting the same result for some reason. And through that result, you're going to find that you're going to stumble across an epiphany, so to speak. That's what it's feeling like. It feels as though you're going to look at it from fresh eyes. And this fresh way of viewing the situation is going to give you the clarity to be able to assess things from a standpoint of now and what's relevant now. I feel you changing everything. And I feel you seeing people for who they really are and how they have been directly connecting with you. I do feel a lot of healing connected to the past and family members. And I do feel as though some old wounds had been opened last month and are really being addressed in October. There is a person that is on your mind quite a bit as well. Now, for some of you who are single, this can be a person from the past, or it can be a person that you're considering again. This person I do feel you're angry with, and this message may be only for a minute number of you, but I do feel it coming through quite prominently as an important message. I do feel this person you have unresolved feelings for, they did do the wrong thing by you, and you're wondering why this person is still on your mind. It has impacted your future in your mind because although the 3D of your world seems fine, to the core internally, it has become a block on a wall. And that block and wall is something that is impacting your way of being because it's plaguing your mind, so to speak. Now, with this aspect that you've been dealing with, for those of you who this directly relates, you're reassessing it to a point where you're wondering why this person is still on your mind, even after what they have done. Now, I do have some animal totem cards that I've got as well to get some insight into what you guys need to focus on as well. Now, this is for your general section, and then I'll go on to the couples and the singles. And I still have a slight cough, so if these videos are slightly late, I do apologise, and it's only because obviously me being unwell did impact the process of getting the following months out as well. And apologies for last month not getting the messages out for both the couples and the singles. The video as such was easier to upload from the computer because of the time frame of upload and the limitation of time for me to actually do that. Each video took about 7 takes because of my coughing. Fun. Okay. Let's see what they're saying. Okay, so from a spiritual point of view, you've got to be very careful at a whole of what you're projecting out. So this is probably something you're not communicating either. Okay, in the aspect of laws of attraction, see the person holding their hand up. Try and get the reflection off. It's almost like in a victim standpoint, basically saying, don't look at me. Now, my attention to unwanted can't defy the laws of attraction. What you're putting out is what you're going to get back in. So although mentally speaking, you've really got some blocks connected to the ways you're perceiving things, you've also got to get to the point where you realise some of that is co-creating your current reality. So if, in fact, as I've seen, you are going back over old ground, and this year is very much, although last year it was very heavy energy, this year is very much about the 3D of actually getting the things done. So last year it was the aspect of knowing and feeling the vibes and not having any forward motion, yet really wanting to have that done. This year is very much about the forward motion, but because you're having to do the work connected to it, what you're finding is it's quite heavy energy. And people are finding that they're really being challenged to communicate their words of how they're feeling connected to things, and also having to put the work in connected to blocks that they've had that have been quite heavy through their lifetime. Now, trigger points connected to your life of where you've been and where you are today are very relevant for this year. But you do find that by doing the work this year, relationships, it's not saying relationships aren't happening and they're not being worked on, but a lot of what is happening for everybody as a whole is very much working on yourselves to a point where you're shaking out all the old and you can physically move forward into the new, knowing you're ready for that very solid foundation. Now, what you put out is going to be very important. What is coming out you need to directly deal with, and it might feel at times testy, where you're looking back over the way people perceive you, but is how they look at you important? How do you look at yourself? Also, how do you want to be looked upon? You know, don't feel that, you know, if you have to be vulnerable to deal with some of those aspects, it's poor. It's an aspect of life. We all will go through it, and we all currently are. But when your trigger points come up connected to the past, the easiest way to directly deal with it so you can change that energy that you're physically putting out is to deal with them as they come up. Now, you are going to find that these aspects connected to past are going to be trigger points connected to blocks you physically have inside yourself. Now, these blocks are extremely important to deal with at that current time because they are an aspect of your fears. So our shadow selves will come up in a sense of, I'll give you an example because I have noticed this to be quite relevant in the last 2 months. Now, for instance, if you're in a relationship, and this is just a scenario, an example, and you're feeling and it's a trigger, an affair connected to perhaps you may have had a relationship and somebody has cheated on you, and then you get into a new situation and then you start having that old fear crop up. Now, it's the universe's way of helping you purge an aspect of a block. So a trigger point inside a new scenario can come about, and it's a reflection of what you're directly fearing. So if it makes sense, you actually do have control of other scenarios, not directly the person as such, but your fears directly connected to scenarios. So with the laws of attraction, what's happening is trigger points that you're currently dealing with are relevant to you purging them. If you don't do the work connected to it, the universe will offer you snippets of your fears, and I swear there's a movie connected to this where they're on a spaceship and, you know, every single person's aspect of a fear-based past tense scenario crops up. That's kind of the way I'm trying to explain this. So it's a trigger point deflected out from yourself that will create in a separate section to test you. So if you can remove that, those aspects of your fears won't co-create and manifest. So that's sort of what I'm trying to say to you. Okay, you can create anything you're wanting to manifest. So if you have an idea in mind, and I'm feeling for some reason this is directly connected to romance, if you want to have the most positive experience within a relationship, what you are believing in your mindset is completely positive, and not positive, completely possible. So the way in which you are wanting it to be, don't paint the picture in a sense of controlling the reality of the scenario. If you find yourself thinking on old paradigms of what you experienced previously, note them as that. And then deal with them separately and say, this scenario does not equal that, and it doesn't have to be co-created into a new reality of the here and now. So I do feel for you guys, if you are in a new relationship, trigger points are coming up. Don't get panicked. Try and look at it from a new standpoint. A lot of times, all of us will go into new situations with baggage. And we all have baggage, and it doesn't have to be physical, like in a sense of blocks or old history that we're physically taking with us. Now, you might have had 2-3 years where you're single and you've done the work and you thought, oh yeah, I'm all good now. The thing is, it always belongs to you, and the trigger point will be within a new scenario. So when that happens, the only way to directly deal with those emotions is within a new situation. So don't get panicked if these situations are coming up in a new, because they're there to tell you you're all good. You've just got to say to yourself, this is a new situation. I acknowledge what happened previously. I'm going to move forward and not deal with it like it's Groundhog Day. Deal with it from a different way of doing things. Okay, your intuition and you being quite spiritual to a point of being at peace, and you doing a full 360 in a way of by you being at one with yourself and at peace with yourself and doing that internal work, you're going to come to a place where nothing can hurt you. And I mean, when I'm saying that, I'm meaning, I feel for October for you, there's going to be a huge turnaround. The way you're doing things is going to be very different. And the reason is because you want to be connected inside yourself with your truthfulness. It will help you feel at one with yourself. It will make you feel lighter for dealing with the aspects that have directly been blocking you. Relationships also in October are on highlight for you all. So be it the communication, the direct connection, the trust and the bonding, the blocks, all of those aspects are completely relevant for October.